Hi, welcome to What We Learned This Week, where it might not matter,
but we're going to do it anyway.
Episode 11. This is Liz.
This is Chalene.
And welcome to the show. We're super excited. Today we're talking about our challenge. Burr, burr, burr. I feel like we should have some actually really sad music there.
That's like sad?
Dramatic.
Okay. Da, da, da. The end game.
No, I didn't.
Closing credits.
Was that it?
Yeah, it was something like that.
I feel like you need to...
My daughter wanted to put it in her project. That's why I know.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so those of you that may be tuning in for the first time, or those of you that need a reminder, we decided that for the fifth Wednesday of every month that we would do a challenge. Not every month, because obviously every month does not have a fifth Wednesday.
But when there are fifth Wednesdays.
Yes. So how this happened was my friend Alicia and I were talking about life, probably. I don't know. And she said, I do this miracle morning. And I was thinking, okay, that sounds really cheesy. Like, did you invent that your own? And she's like, no, this actually is a thing. And kind of briefly explained it to me. My interest was piqued, but I was also very scared because mornings to me are not an energetic time in my life. How about you, Liz?
I think we touched on that a little bit the last 2 weeks. I don't want to say I'm a morning person. Like, I'm not Anna in Frozen where she's like, the sky's awake, so I'm awake. But I will be honest, if the sun comes up, I'm probably fighting trying to stay asleep.
Okay.
But I also fight getting out of bed, so.
Okay. But you wake up.
But I do wake up, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a problem getting up with my kids, getting them out the door. 90-ish, maybe 80% of the time, I have no problem getting up and going to the gym, as long as it's not 4 a.m. Like, that's inappropriate. So it's 5.
Agreed. Yeah.
6 is okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I can do that.
Yeah, I can push myself to get up in the morning, but it's still a struggle.
You're not always happy doing it? Is that kind of what you mean? Or
no, I'm just not alive.
Alive is like you need that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't feel like I can compute things in my brain very easily.
Do we have to talk slower when we speak to you in the morning? I don't remember having to do that when I saw you the other day. Like, I wasn't like, Chalene, I'm going to talk really
You should have seen
slow.
She did pretend sign language with her hand.
I did. I was like, maybe if I spell her name with my hand, she'll know I'm talking to her.
That's a possibility. Or I could pretend like I know what you're talking about and have no recollection of it later on in the day. So
if I want to get away with something, talk to you in the morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it.
Yes, ma'am. So I was really glad that Alicia had told me about this because I do think it's something that I need. And I felt a little bit lately, and Liz knows this, that I'm not necessarily growing as a human right now, as a person, in a lot of ways.
She's lying.
But I feel like...
Like, which way?
Well, like...
Like, we're not our kids, right? Still needing brain nutrients the same? What's happening here?
Well, just like I'm not growing as a person. I'm not setting goals. And that kind of bothers me because usually there's something in my life that's forcing me to grow in some way.
Oh, okay.
Right? If I'm a teacher, I'm always making goals or always making plans. I always had something to kind of look forward to.
Yeah.
And there's obviously things in my life that naturally I'm going to look forward to. The end of school starting for my kids. There's lots of beginning and ends to things. But I didn't feel like anything personally for me, I was stretching myself or making myself purposefully uncomfortable to grow.
Yeah.
And that's something that I probably struggle with. We talked a little bit about the 4 tendencies. I don't know if you are familiar with Gretchen Rubin. You are. Mm-hmm. Listeners, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but she just talks about, in terms of habits, what kind of person you are. And there's 4 different tendencies that she's come up with. Mm-hmm. And I tend to be an obliger, which means that I will let myself down, but I don't let other people down. Mm-hmm. So in a way, I'm putting other people's needs before mine a lot of times.
Right. And
also that it takes a lot of being uncomfortable to make commitments to yourself.
Oh, man.
And I don't do that very well.
There's a lot of discomfort there.
But Liz, we discovered, is actually an upholder, which means...
that I'm bossy.
No, it doesn't. Stop.
Remember, we just read that today, too. Elizabeth has issues with the fact that she's bossy sometimes. Ask my sisters. They will tell you I'm bossy.
That's a different situation. Oldest people in the family are bossy. Because we had to be.
We did have to be.
We were expected to be. I really feel that way.
We actually were. Come on now. It's generational, too. Those were the expectations for me. I was in charge all the time.
Me too.
I was okay with it, too. But
explain what an upholder kind of is a little bit. Do you feel like you have a grasp on just like the very basic?
No, because mine was all negative. Remember?
No, it's
was
not
all
negative.
No, I
You
negatively
take it as
associated it. I totally did.
I think it's great because she keeps commitments to others. She keeps commitments to others, but she also keeps commitments to herself, which means you're probably a really good goal setter.
I set goals all the time.
Yeah.
Me and my lists, I love marking them off, making them happen. Some of that has slipped a little bit lately. I think that's what was a little overwhelming for me in this miracle morning is how focused it was. And I love focused, right? Like I love, here's your formula for success. Like check the boxes, everything.
Here's this personality test. It's going to tell you all the things about you.
Yeah, I eat that stuff up, right?
Yes.
And I super struggled this time. And I'm not positive. We can get into that a little bit later as to the whys and wherefores. And to be honest, I've been pretty sick the last week and a half. There was very little desire to finish committing when I was dying.
I think also you wanted to give it a go because I asked you to do it, but you didn't have anything, like you didn't have the choice to do this. I kind of told you to do it.
There is a possibility that if there wasn't that full personal commitment, that it was easier to be like, well, and maybe that's the difference that I wasn't recognizing, right? Was if I had sought it out, done it, it would have every day, 6 o'clock for 1 hour. Yeah, no, it's true. And I looked for all the loopholes. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, we'll get there.
That might have been the rebel.
Maybe.
Yeah. So she talks about what's the other kinds too? There's questioner and
rebel.
And rebel. The negative associations I had with it was she tried to give you examples in like with famous characters, and she talks about Hermione Granger being an upholder, and that's when I was like, I'm not reading this book anymore. And so I didn't quite get through all of it, and we
all need a Hermione.
We do.
They would have gotten in so much more trouble if she hadn't been there.
But she's the annoying one with the crazy frizzy hair that's telling everybody the doomsday that might happen if they...
Hey, it's better being her than Luna.
Who's Luna?
Luna Lovegood? The one that was always like, oh, Harry.
I just love you, Harry.
No, she didn't love him. She was like the really space cadet one. Luna was in the later ones. Her and Harry were the only one that could see those horses.
Oh, okay.
Because she had had an experience with a loved one dying.
Okay.
And that's, anyway. At least you're not a Luna, all right?
At least I'm not a Luna.
Maybe you need to go look that up.
I do need to go look it up.
You'll be grateful you were Hermione.
I love the far-reaching effect that Harry Potter has had on culture. I just listened to the radio the other day, and apparently there's a term now where you're long-bottoming. Okay. This is for men, I think. It's Neville Longbottom, right?
Yes.
And he was kind of snivelly, like...
He was just a nerdy and just...
Yeah.
He loved his mom, had a really close relationship with his mom.
But then, like, he goes away for a summer or something and then comes back stacked and, like, basically hot is what it was supposed to be, like, this allusion to...
He really did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of just grew into himself.
So that's, like, the term now for long bottom. Yeah, you come back... I don't know. It's a thing.
If you don't know Harry Potter, that is a very confusing phrase.
It would... Not gonna lie. I was like, they need to explain this because my mind is going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Which they did, and I caught on. But... Good times.
Got it. Well, rabbit hole accomplished for the first time.
Yeah, we need a safe word again?
Maybe, because we've gone down 2 rabbit holes so far. Back to the Morning Miracle. The man that wrote the book, his name is Hal Elrod. And he kind of goes through a little bit of his backstory about how he came to this process. And you can read the book and find that out. He decided he wanted to grow personally and knew that there were certain habits that successful people do on a daily basis.
Okay.
And kind of that was his springboard for what he came up with. His acronym for what to do every morning is SAVERS, SAVERS. Well, I'll quickly introduce each one, and then we can kind of delve into them a little bit more. So
Perfect.
S is silence.
Okay.
A is affirmations. V is visualization. E is exercise. R is reading. S is scribing. And I guess he said, I had to come up with scribing, even though it's kind of weird because J just didn't work. Saverge. So he came up with S for scribing.
I like it.
Yeah. So let's just kind of go really quick into these. You take an hour to do all 6 of these things, and each of them take 10 minutes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
There was one section I remembered reading that implied you could have different time dedicated to each category. Is that correct? Because that's pretty much how I did it. I didn't do an exact 10 minutes each.
Because I'm a linear thinker, maybe a bit of a rule follower,
Are you sure you're not an upholder?
did 10 minutes each one. And it helped me to just move on to the next one because...
Was it an easy timer to set kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's just an easy way for me to divide it. Because there's some that I don't enjoy as much as others. So that gets me through the ones I don't enjoy.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
Yeah. Great. So the first one's silence. He wants you to clear your head. Mm-hmm. Meditate as best you can. I think meditation is hard.
Well, and that could be prayers too. It was
yes.
any variation of what... I don't know if any of you listeners also have read about this or anything, but they actually have done prayer studies before, and they're very similar. The same like wavelength processes happen as in meditation. It's very interesting. We don't have to go down that whole rabbit hole, and I did not come prepared with the study.
Okay.
But it is really fascinating. So for the purposes of this exercise and what he set forth in the challenge, and then just for information for yourself, if you're, if you haven't done the challenge yet and you're interested, or if you just want more information for yourself, the silence is very similar. You can have it, prayers to the universe, meditation, whatever it is that helps you to center.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I have also heard, too, that when you're in the mode of active prayer, and I would assume meditation is the same, that your stress level is baseline. Oh, yeah. There's no stress. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a really good place to start.
Yeah.
And I do like starting that way, especially because I don't get up and hit the ground running. That's a really good transition for me to just sit there and just be able to be for 10 minutes.
I love that. I actually heard recently, too, someone emphasize the very same thing. He talked about how those very first few moments in the morning are almost the precedent even for the rest of your day, how you navigate those first few moments as you're waking. So it sounds like that might have really spoke to you.
I can see that. It's almost like when you see cartoons of people stubbing their toe in the morning, and it just kind of sets the tone for their whole day.
Oh my gosh. My kid's favorite book was Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day.
Yes, that's my mom's favorite book. I know. It's a pretty good one. I do like that silence part. I think that's probably one of my favorites because I don't take time in my day to just be. I'm always feeling guilty about not doing something or looking forward to something and preparing for something.
Your mind's always somewhere else.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to incorporate that in my life. And so this is the perfect way to do that.
So did you find that you needed to... I'm really curious how you did it, because here was my issue with silence. Love it. Big fan of it. Mm-hmm. I do that actually on my own in other little pockets, but I did love starting my day that way. My struggle is I discovered how much more tired I am than I thought I was when I first got up. Okay. So for me to not hit the ground running was really, really difficult. So to stop right away and it could have been because I was practicing some of my silence very closely to my bed, if not in my bed. And so that's why I'm being 100% honest. I want to know what your experience is with that, because I felt that I just couldn't hold on to that type of meditation or focus at all. I just wanted to keep falling back asleep. So did you have to go somewhere else completely?
Yes. So
did you sit?
I probably didn't go over this. What he recommends is getting out of bed, going to the bathroom.
Okay.
Getting a whole drink of water, brushing your teeth, and getting your exercise clothes on. And then going down to another place in your house besides your bedroom.
So you're showing up. Like you're legit.
Yeah. And he says,
so you are hitting the ground running.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it gets me to drink more water. Mm-hmm. I brush my teeth so I don't kill my kids when they wake up with my breath, because I'm pretty sure I have dragon breath. They've mentioned it more than a few times. Getting the exercise clothes on, that's something that I maybe don't do all the time. Mm-hmm. I just hate changing my clothes. It's a weird thing. I've met other people like me.
I'm one of you. No, I get it.
Yeah. So if I know I'm going to go to the gym later on, I totally will do that. If I don't think I'm going to go to the gym later on, I'll just put my robe on and kind of just go with that.
That's why I'm a yoga teacher. Oh, yoga clothes? I have to teach. I should wear them.
Yeah, exactly.
Before I go teach, and maybe after too.
I love it. All of it.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. I have a spot that I've kind of carved out in my family room. I just go sit there. My books and my journal are piled there.
Cool.
And I get my cozy blanket and I just start. And I have my phone next to me as my timer.
Okay, I'm going to have to try a little bit more of a removed approach.
Yes. I did try it in my room one day and I was very unsuccessful. I fell asleep during the visualization part.
See, my struggle is my sacred space is in my room right now. I've already done that. That's been a past challenge that I committed for myself, or completed, I should say. I created a sacred space. I have a little portion that's carved out for me. I did a 21-day Gasso challenge. I think I'm pronouncing that correct. Through Gasso is a Buddhist practice where you get up and start the day with one, like an affirmation almost, and you end the day with one. Anyways, I've done that, so I don't know where I would do it. These are probably things I could have discussed before the 2 weeks started.
I'm actually going to take this challenge longer, I think.
Oh, I'm
going to keep going.
I'm for sure. That's the biggest conclusion that I came to, is the things that were in it were so, I need them. Mm-hmm. Like I might not be like spot on, like he's saying, brush my teeth, put my hair, but I want these things for life.
Yes, me too. And I actually do go to bed kind of excited, knowing that I'm going to do these things and I'm going to feel so good at the end of the day. Like I love at the end of the day being, I exercised today. It might have only been for 10 minutes, but I did it.
Yeah.
I love being able to like go to bed with that sense of completion of, even if I didn't do anything for the rest of the day, I did 6 pretty amazing things.
Oh my gosh. And those 6 things talk about self-care to a whole new level. Did you feel that way? For me, it felt like legit self-care in a way that I haven't tended in a finite, concrete form in a long time.
I agree. And I don't even know if I've ever done anything that's like this before. That's been consistent with a plan.
Yeah.
I always have these ideas of like, oh, I'm going to meditate an hour every day. Right. And life gets in the way. You don't carve it out. You don't have a plan. You don't, like you said with the space.
10 minutes a day, I don't work.
Right. I mean, I've really never made that goal. But I'm just giving you an example.
I was really proud of you for that goal, actually.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, no. So let's move on to the next one, which is affirmations.
Okay.
Some of the things that he asks you to do is actually read it out loud.
Okay.
He doesn't want you just to say it in your mind. He says saying it out loud is very powerful. He said he had a roommate who would every morning in the shower say, I am wonderful, and scream these
really?
words. Yeah, he did. And he's always thought it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But this guy was actually very successful in his life, and he attributes some of that to the affirmations that he shouted in the shower every morning. I have not gotten to the point where I want to shout my affirmations yet, but
I really feel like we need to get you to that point.
Do you?
I want to drive by your house one day and you're out on the balcony, out on your little step.
I kind of want to do a superhero pose while I do it. Have you heard of that? Like the superhero stance? Before you do something?
No.
I feel like I heard it somewhere else, but I do
My
know
mind went straight to like yoga poses.
No.
Explain yourself.
So,
I want to know.
On Grey's Anatomy. Yeah.
Okay.
Grey's Anatomy. One of the surgeons, before she went into surgery, she would do like a superhero pose. So imagine how Superman would stand as his cape is flying, just like strong and chin up, just standing like that for like 5 minutes, just to kind of give yourself the courage and be like, I am really good at what I'm doing. So part of me wants to stand like that. I don't, because I'm too lazy. I want to sit down and cuddle on my blanket. Just kind of those affirmations. And I actually looked up several affirmations. I just keep them on my phone. Mm-hmm. And he said there is power in reading it as well. So
good.
I read it out loud.
Versus even just repeating to yourself. I loved just repeating them.
Yeah, you can do that too. But he said there is power in reading it. Especially when the affirmations are longer.
Okay.
But tell about your affirmations that you do and what you felt was important.
Well, so that's actually something I might have struggled with in a different way. So my meditation practices are not always, I'm going to clear my head for 10 minutes and nothing's going to happen, right? Like right now, my phase of meditation is I still need to focus.
Okay.
So I typically have a focus word. So I cheated a lot on this. I'm just going to be
honest. You're just conforming it to yourself. I think that's natural.
For me, affirmations and meditation was very similar. Mm-hmm. So if there was something that I was really struggling and wanted to bring into my life, that was my word for my meditation, and it flowed into my affirmation side. Okay. So there was one day where it was, I am whole. Again, being really sick like I was the last week and a half, it unfortunately this timed with, I'm already emotional and intense sometimes, I swear. Anyways, at least it feels that way. For any of you other empaths or highly sensitive people out there. Yeah. Being sick with this and not giving all the information away and making this the Elizabeth hour of everything that I experience in my life. When I get sick, sometimes I go down a little bit of a dark tunnel. I have an autoimmune disease. Mm-hmm. So what am I doing that I shouldn't be doing? What could I do differently?
Instead of just allowing yourself to be sick, you just micromanage yourself.
How about the fact that I was taking care of my 8-year-old and I ended up with the same illness he had? Big stinking deal.
Yeah, interesting.
I couldn't just stay in, my immune system doesn't work sometimes, or that it is working. That is, right? That it's doing its job. So I was down a whole nother,
oh dear,
what do I need to do different? How do I, and it happens. I spin out every once in a while and try to hyper fix the situation and have to step back. So that was my affirmation for a lot of days was I'm whole. I'm exactly what I am. This is enough. There was another phrase, I am. I actually taught a few classes around that one. I did have a cool experience one morning. If we kind of follow this notion that those first few moments are so critical, right, for kind of setting your precedent for the day. Yeah. I rolled out of bed one morning with this just huge desire to share with others, but also to feel on a very deep level for myself, this affirmation of my being, of who I am, Okay. And so I was Googling like affirmations like that. I found this really cool meditation. I want to say it's a Kundalini one that this man was teaching, but where when we make a statement, I am, our brain looks for something, right? Like, yes. I am what? I am a mother.
I'm a blank.
I am a 5'6", whatever, blah, blah. You know what I mean? We look for all the explanations. So I spent the first part of my meditation just on leaving it open-ended. And then their suggestion is actually that you make it a continuous loop. It's like it creates a loop, but when you say I am. So it's in a different way saying, it is what it is. Some people get really bothered by that phrase. Oh. But there's some truth to that. I am what I am. There's nothing else. Right. It is what it just is. But it's also very affirming. It's that sense of completion, right? So that's the continuous loop. Anyways, so I had some cool experiences around that. I'll eat that stuff up all day long. Well, I love affirmations.
I've been reading Eat, Pray, Love, and she does a similar affirmation to that. It says, I am that.
Oh, that's right. She does do that one.
That kind of rung true to me, too. It does feel silly for me to chant. I mean, chant may be too strong of a word. But
to vocalize it, to say it out loud?
Yeah, or I just feel like, and we talked about this last time a little bit, it just starts to be meaningless after a while. So I've really been trying to associate emotions with it. But I change it every day.
That's cool.
So sometimes I'll do one for wealth. Sometimes, for something that I'm working on, whatever. I don't know. I have a hard time doing the same one every day.
Yeah.
Is that weird? Does it need to be the same thing every day?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Is this the area, if I'm remembering correctly, that you were telling me you kind of struggled with the most? This was the particular, or am I remembering?
Yes, this and the next one. So maybe we'll go to the next one.
Maybe that's what.
So visualization. I've been telling myself for the last week, maybe more, that I'm going to make a vision board. And I haven't. Because I find myself in visualization sometimes not being able to focus on what I want, to visualize. Sometimes I'll visualize myself or what I want my future self to look like. Or I'll visualize.
Is that kind of what he wants? Was that goal behind visualization? Because that's how I took it too.
No, he had a vision board. And he
really?
said, he highly recommended a vision board. Putting phrases on there. He recommends having a vision board. So you can actually look at something and have something concrete to look at.
So that it's not all just in your head, right?
I'm sure you can do it in your head, but for me, it felt very unfocused. And it's interesting because I think I should visualize the house that of my dreams, but I'm really content with where I live right now. Obviously, there's always something you can change.
Right.
But it's hard for me to want to visualize something more when I feel like I've been given so much. What do you think about that? Is that a mindset I need to fix?
I don't know. One of the keys to abundance is gratitude, is exactly that you are grateful for what you have and that you recognize what you have been given. One of the things that I teach a lot when I'm working with abundance or, feeling abundance in your life, you have to let go of this preconceived notion of what something's supposed to look like. Oh. I think you just...
that kind of goes against all the visualization.
Right. So that's kind of what you're saying though too, right? Is that you didn't feel, what am I visualizing? You had a hard time focusing, right? I don't know. I think you got to go with your gut for a little while. If right now you're in the mode of, I'm visualizing all the things that make me feel abundant and I'm grateful for, then maybe that's your visualization.
Oh, I like
Honor that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel inspired when I read things like You're a Bad A from Jen Sincero and this man's work and any of these things that are, to support you into achieving the life of your dreams and reaching your goals and all this other stuff. But sometimes my day-to-day is, I'm still slogging through.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't imagine you slogging. I think you're lying.
I am not lying. Girl, I don't know what pedestal you got me on. Come over to my house. You should see my kitchen.
Oh my gosh, she's like the Energizer Bunny. It's awesome. Okay, so visualization. Yeah, I think I really do want to make a vision board, though. I've been toying around with it probably over a year.
What about Pinterest? What about
No, I didn't like that because it felt really confining to me, and I don't know.
So he has like one that's a literal, here's my giant poster.
Yeah.
Like from 7th
I think
grade
I'm going to do like a smaller piece of paper because I just want something that I can pull out and I don't want to have it displayed to the world. I think my husband will make fun of me.
Probably. Who cares?
And I don't have to store one more big thing. So we love you. We love you.
Yeah, we do.
There was one other part with the visualization. I did find an app that I thought would be really fun. And I thought I could, if I ended up doing a vision board, I could just take small snippets of pictures of it. Mm-hmm. But you put your pictures in and then it goes through them really fast.
Ooh.
To get your subconscious thinking about those pictures.
Like how fast? Like I'm going to get dizzy?
Like 3 seconds each picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you put them into your app and then you load it during your visualization exercise.
Yeah.
And it shows you all the things that are part of your...
Yeah, but it said you're not supposed to always be able to register what the picture is. So some people get really frustrated. At least that's what the app developer said. I have not had my own experience with it. That it's really more for your subconscious to take hold of those pictures rather than you putting a lot of frontal cortex thought into it.
Interesting.
So I want to try
that.
I love that idea.
Really?
I love the idea of not having to work for something.
There's a lot of work in this. No, don't be ashamed. That's kind of a cool thought. Yeah. Right? Like, does it all have to be this deep, intense work every second?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's exhausting.
It is exhausting. So I thought that might have been
Change it up, too.
Yeah.
I think what I'm finding between the two of us talking is, first off, you got to find out what works for you, right? And then there's freedom to be flexible here. Yes. You know, get creative. So he kind of gives you a framework, an outline. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I love.
Yeah.
I love that.
Me too. E was for exercise. And, I actually really liked it.
Oh, whoops. That was my massive, didn't happen.
Oh, I see.
That one was my, okay.
But you exercise every day.
Yeah, see, that's my thing. So the first 3, I was like, bomb, I'm on it. Last 3,
Last 3 are my favorites.
How are we doing this? This is how we're doing it. Yeah, so exercise was tricky for me because I teach every day. I have to plan my classes every day. So I did try, and some of the days my exercise time would be when I was planning my class.
Oh, okay.
So I'd do a small yoga practice so I knew what I wanted.
Hal actually talks about how he chooses yoga most of the time. And I guess from what I gather, he just has a video. And so he kind of goes 10 minutes and then stops and then does the next 10 minutes the next day or something. For me, that's really disjointed. I feel uncomfortable with that because I want to open with something normal. I don't know what's normal.
Consistent? Did you like more consistency? Or?
Well, I just feel like yoga to me has a very definite beginning and an end in my mind. Mm-hmm. And so to jump in halfway feels very awkward.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I'm not a yoga teacher. I chose to just Google 10-minute workouts. So one day I would do an arm workout.
Oh, that's cool.
One day I would do 10-minute ab workout. Mm-hmm. And it was in conjunction. I mean, I still do exercise a little bit, not as much as I used to. I just love being able to gain a little strength. And you know, the days that I don't work out, I've always felt so guilty. Like, oh,
yeah,
I didn't do half an hour today. But just knowing that I did something just makes me feel better.
I love that. Maybe that would help me wrap my head around it differently. Because I'm
not expecting to see these huge results from it.
Oh my gosh, I just like to cut corners. I'm like, okay, if I have an hour of this, but I still need to get in my 45-minute workout, where can I was cutting all the corners in my head that I could. Well, that was on the days that I wasn't sick, because I'll be honest, the other days I was like, sweet, exercise is out the window. Yoga, I can sit and, you know, do 2 or 3 poses for some of the time and be fine.
Right.
Which I can do that in 10 minutes.
But you should give yourself some grace when you're sick.
Yeah. I'm super curious to see how the next few weeks go, being invested in it a little differently.
Awesome.
And shift it up. And the same was this for me for reading and scribing. I love to read. Mm-hmm. I couldn't figure out how to like I read for pleasure when I am finally just reading something I love. So trying to do that first thing in the morning, I couldn't do it.
Like you weren't in a space to do it in your head, or it wasn't interesting? You couldn't concentrate?
Remember how I was shaving time. So I'm like, oh, that's an easy 20 minutes to get rid of.
Right. Well, for me, I split it up into 5 minutes of scripture reading and 5 minutes of either... Actually, I was reading a lot of Hal's book, trying to finish it. Mm-hmm. I did another self-help book. Way to go, Chalene. Thank you. And then other times I'll just read for pleasure. Just pick up a book, because I usually read before I go to bed. So I'll just keep reading that book that I'm
10 minutes only of reading makes me cranky.
Oh, I like it.
Do you?
Yeah, it does go by fast. It goes by really fast.
Like, what if you get to a really good point and then you have to stop?
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Usually I can let it go unless... There's a few books that I probably couldn't, but this one's fine. It's just a fluffy little novel. Mm-hmm. And then the last one is scribing. And this is the one that I've actually let go of a lot if I don't have time. Like, sometimes I don't wake up as early as I'm supposed to. So my kids are getting ready and I need to make lunches or something like that. And that's the one that
hard
falls.
To dedicate.
Especially if you don't wake up early enough and your kids like to wake up in the morning. So, yeah. But I actually really like 10 minutes is a long time to write. I don't know if you've ever sat down since you've been in high school or college to write for 10 minutes. My hand was getting crampy.
Really?
Yes.
Aww.
But I liked it.
I used to write a ton.
You did? Yeah, so maybe your hands are stronger.
No, I just did it. It was better on paper than in my head.
Yeah, true. There is some truth to that. And I think that is a good thing about journaling is it gets those things out of your head. And I feel like once you can write it down, there's kind of an end to that circle in your mind.
Yeah. Get out of the loop. Mm-hmm. Or the hamster wheel or whatever it is in there.
I really liked that journaling part, having a focus. And I had a friend recently that sent me a book. Thank you, Jean. 400 writing prompts.
Ooh.
And so I thought it might be fun to try, just every morning, just having those little prompts.
Yeah. Especially if you're going to keep this up like you're thinking. I think we need to do a check back in.
Yeah, maybe. Hal did talk about how habits, most people say 21 days. Mm-hmm. Have you heard that before?
Yeah.
And he said a full 30 days. And for some reason in my mind, I was thinking 6 weeks, and I don't know where that came from. But I do want to give this a little bit more of a go. Here's how I've modified it for myself. I don't quite know. I allow myself one day to sleep in an extra hour. So like Saturdays, I let myself sleep in a little bit longer just so I have something to look forward to because I really do like sleeping in.
Yeah.
I've been trying to wake up at about 6 o'clock every morning.
Wow.
Because he says an hour earlier than you wake up now. Mm-hmm. And that's been a really, really hard this last week.
Yeah.
What about you? What time do you wake up?
I normally wake up 6. So that means I'd be up at 5. And that really...
But what do you do for your first hour anyway when you wake up at 6?
I work out. I do a lot of those things anyway, just I didn't do them organized.
So 6 o'clock is when you go to the gym?
Yeah. So on the days that I would go to the gym, I get up at 6. I don't go at 6. Yeah. And it takes me a while. Like I probably am not at the gym until like 6:20. I mean, I'm moving slow, going to the bathroom, brush my teeth, get my drink, get my shoe, all the things. Mm-hmm. And then by the time I get back, I've got kids going to junior high. So I'm doing lunches and breakfast. And that's the thing that's a struggle for me is once that happens, my morning's gone.
Yeah.
Because after kids go to school, I'm off to my classes. 2 days a week, I have to leave early in the morning. For me, it's early. It's by 8:30 to get out to 2 of my classes. And then the other mornings, it's a little bit later, but I only have like 45 minutes in between or an hour in between or something stupid. Truly, if I want to get my workout in, my own personal other things that I try to work for, I have to get up and I really do have to do it an hour early.
Well, I'm wondering if you could get up at 5:30 if you don't get to the gym till 6:20.
Right. Yeah.
I bet 5:30 would work.
Mm-hmm. And then I just shave my 10 minutes still.
Yeah. Well, you don't need to do your E because you're going to do it later.
Yeah. I think it's possible. And I really want to play with how to make it all happen because I don't know, like we were talking about for a second there, I really just found that I loved that concentration of these cool things that I got to focus on. And
I agree.
I spent so many years, confession for a moment, doing the mom thing where it was so focused on other humans and literally trying to keep people alive, right?
It's other people's schedules. You're not on your own.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is a new phase I've entered where I don't have to do that the same. Yeah. Very inspiring. So I'd be really curious for any listeners out there that did do it. And especially, if you did have some of those other complications, you've got babies keeping you up or whatever, work schedules. I mean, what's your story? been your success ratio?
Yeah.
Or what's your secret for that? Or is it just like Chalene said, when you're committed to it, it's a different, I don't know, you internalize it differently and then.
Yeah, and if you found any good modifications that have worked for you.
Yeah.
Or any special tricks. Yeah, yes, you do. I'm actually really glad we did this, Liz. So thanks for kind of pushing me onto it and getting me into a challenge. Like I said, this helped me grow. There was one quote that he talked about in his book, and I don't know who Jim Rohn is, but I feel like I've seen that name somewhere before. This is what it says. Your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development.
Okay, your level of success.
Meaning, if you haven't done a lot of personal development, you're not going to have a lot of success.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, because success is something you attract by the person you become.
By the person.
So when you become a certain person, you attract a certain amount of success.
Interesting.
And I can kind of see that. Liz and I were talking earlier, and she said, how many people with PhDs do you see flipping burgers at McDonald's?
Yeah. Nothing wrong with flipping burgers at McDonald's. We need those.
Yeah, we do. I'm just saying in a minimum wage job. You don't see very many PhDs in a minimum wage job.
For sure.
And because they've achieved that personal development, right? It takes a lot to get a PhD. You see there's a certain amount of success that goes along with that.
I think it's also important to remember that personal success can also be relative. One of the classes I teach is at a addiction treatment center. Mm-hmm. And one of my students has been talking and sharing with me a little bit. And he is really, really trying to be different in his life. Apparently he grew up in Vegas, Henderson area. And he's like, I wasn't even a part of gangs. I wasn't even involved in these kind of things. And he's been shot at. He's been stabbed. He's been in jail.
Wow.
Like, this guy's had a rough life.
In Henderson?
Vegas is ghetto, girl.
Wow.
Like,
I thought
I met
was
my
like
husband
the
there, right? So I was asking him how he liked being out here. They're fairly new to the area. I think his family support group moved in conjunction with this move to the behavioral health center that he's at.
Okay.
Treatment center, not behavioral. The addiction treatment center that he's at. Anyways, but he was talking about the things that he's really trying to stay on top of and do different. And for him, right now, like he said, he was in jail before ending up out here. He had been so involved in the life that he was in that it was very hard to have any other stability. So right now he's said he's been exercising 5 hours. No, what did he say? He said running 5 miles a day. Maybe he said going. I have to think of the exact words because he said he'd been going 5 miles a day, but it was on a bike and it used to be like 16 minutes a mile. And now he's down at like 11. And he's like, that's a huge, that's a big deal for him every single day. He's been going to my yoga twice a week. And this is a 40-some-year-old tough guy, right? Like he's been through some stuff. There was one more thing he added and I'm trying to remember. But for him, this is a big deal. This is an accomplishment. So,
well, that's personal development, right? He's going outside of the norm for him.
The comfort zone.
Mm-hmm. And he's experiencing success. I mean, he hasn't talked to you necessarily about the success, but I would assume that his desire for his addiction has gone down.
And he feels good. Mm-hmm. He can feel differently even.
Right.
Is what he's said. And he loves...
He's not numbing out, probably, is usually what addictions do.
Yeah.
So
we talked about yoga after the treatment center. Mm-hmm. So he kind of wanted to know where I teach and how to still go to the same type of classes. Because that was something else we talked about. I, shared some of the other types of yoga that he, places he could go, things he could do. Mm-hmm. And his big thing was, I do so much other stuff. I need this kind of yoga. Like the mindful, let's just slow it down a little. I need to be here, be present kind. Yeah. How do I find that? Anyway,
Way to go.
It's been some good conversation. I know that addiction's difficult. It's not the very, this isn't the first time he's been somewhere and it might not be the last.
Which is typical. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I know it's a cycle, but that's success though too, right? But it's such a beautiful reminder that if you're working on yourself, then you're achieving something.
Yeah. It's really true. That's, I think, probably why I wanted to do something like this because not that I haven't had success, but I haven't felt that.
Yeah. Personal.
Whatever you feel when you accomplish a goal, just that glow from the inside out, know?
Yeah.
Just feels good. And I kind of did feel like that a little bit doing the Miracle Morning of being looking around, being like, that person has no idea that I just woke up an hour early and I did all those things.
Giving yourself a little pat.
I was. And I was like, I bet you I did this and there's very few people that did it with me. And that's kind of cool.
It is really cool. I think it's very empowering.
I want to keep trying this, and I'm going to really grit my teeth and try and wake up early enough.
I'm going to check in on you. You check in on me.
Yes, I will.
We'll talk about it later when we check in on each other again.
Yes, let us know on Facebook or Instagram if you took this challenge. I would be really interested to see what your results were. And if not, let us know that you're going to start it.
Yeah, we'll support you.
We will.
The next 2 weeks. Do we have a question of the week?
I was just going to ask a question of if you're a morning person or not. And people already know if we are. So we want to know, are you a morning dove or a night owl? Let us know in the comments. And we will put any links. Maybe I'll put the link to the app in the show notes.
Yeah, do.
For the visualization part.
We'll put the title of Gretchen Rubin's book.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
and take the little quiz. She has a little quiz on her website. You can find out what you are. It'll take you less than 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find out.
If you're a Hermione Granger or not.
Or if you're
just embrace yourself.
I don't even know what Luna would be. I'm not a rebel.
I have a little rebel in me.
I think everybody does. No?
I think so.
Probably.
Remember how today you told me you had a little rebel in you about something?
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody's doing it, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I do that a lot. Not a lot.
My husband's like that. He refused to go to Hawaii because he's like, everyone goes to Hawaii. I'm not going to go there.
What a turd.
And then he went there and he was like, I really liked Hawaii. And I was like, I knew you would.
That is funny. Hey, all you rebels out there.
Anyway, well.
Just give in. I'm just kidding.
Thanks, Liz. This was fun.
Thanks, Chalene.
Yep. And remember, keep on learning.
Because it does matter.